Hi there, my name is Eugene Prestupa. Based on the requests of a few members of the gospel community on Facebook, I would like to share with you my current Omnisphere setup. This is a very basic overview. There's a lot of rant that will be included, which you may skip. This is my first video. I will improve as we go on. This will be about 10 minutes of an overview of my setup, communications with an iPad, with a host app like Digital Performer, as well as the communication with my keyboard, which is currently Kronos 73 and the Korg Triton. Let's go over a basic setup. Here we have a Kronos 73, or any other keys you may have, as the controller for Omnisphere. I also happen to like the sounds of this keyboard, so I'm going to use them and mix them together with Omnisphere sounds when I play at the event. Here's how the setup works. I load Digital Performer or MainStage, Logic, any other app you'd like to use as the host. Within your host app, you get a chance to install your modules like Omnisphere, Contact, and any others that you may purchase. Once I add them to my setup, which is a song in my case, I get a chance to add up to 8 patches in Omnisphere for my live setup. In order to get these patches out to the main board for the sound man to mix them into the band sound, I use this Focusrite 2i2 controller. It is connected via USB cable to my Macbook Pro with an i5 processor, 16 gigs of RAM, and a 512 gig solid state. I've upgraded most of those components individually myself to save some money. I also use the sounds from my Kronos 73, and as you'll also see, the Triton Extreme directly through the Focusrite to mix them to the sound of Omnisphere to give it an extra edge. I do this by connecting the outputs, the main 2 outputs of my keyboard, to the inputs of the Focusrite. And my Omnisphere sound will come through a USB cable, and both will blend in, depending on my settings, into the output of this unit. To remove the unnecessary components from the stage, like a monitor, and the necessity of using the screen, I use an app called Omni TR, which you're probably aware of. You can download it for free from the App Store. Okay, let's take a look at it. Once the app is loaded, I hit the connect button. And as you see, I have my MacBook listed right here. Let's take a minute and look over the setup. How does my app know and see my computer? It uses the wireless network. The quick question I have is, then what if my church or my home setup does not allow or just does not have a wireless network? In this case, I suggest that you use a inexpensive $20 Belkin, Cisco, or any other router you can get in a retail store or online, and create a private Wi-Fi network for these purposes. Then you will be able to connect both your MacBook or any other PC and your iPad solely to this network without any other devices in the way, and be able to fully control the communication between them. Once I get the computer settings set up, and I can help you with those if you send me some requests, I'll explain it in more detail. I actually get to see my current sound setup, and I have a glare, I apologize, which is very similar to my setup from the Omnisphere, as you can tell, in the live mode. In fact, it's exactly the same. Because now, through the wireless network, I'm able to control my sounds from an iPad. This is a first generation unit. It's the oldest iPad I could find. I've used it for a few years, and it still serves a great purpose. No need to buy the most expensive, latest and greatest if you're on a budget. Just an FYI. The first thing I'd like to show you is my sound setup. My church sound setup is very simple. It's 8 patches. Most of them are patches related to string or pad sounds. I usually select my favorite 5, and don't ask me why, I just like those. For any service I play on Sunday, once I have them selected, I'm able to play them with the volumes that are set up on my iPad. Most of them I start with at 0. I don't mute my channels. There's a reason why I don't mute them, because if I set my volume at a 90% and all of a sudden while holding a chord I unmute the sound, I'll probably surprise some of the congregation members with some really heavy blow in their ears of a string or some other patch. So I don't mute them, I bring them in steadily as music progresses and dynamics have to be built. Let's take a look. I have 5 sounds selected. All 5 of them are at 0 volume. We hear nothing, which is exactly what we want to hear. Now, as we have a preacher or worship leader leading a congregation into a time of worship, I start bringing in my string sound. Maybe as time passes by and things unfold, I would like to add some human firelight sound, which gives it a little more of an airy feel, and maybe a little glass, which is really more of a tingly effect. You may hear it in my actual recording that I'll upload in a little while. Now I'm able to control how the sound, the actual essence and characteristic of the sound directly from my iPad, give it a little more boldness, a little more tingly edge, or however you'd like to set yours up. It really depends on your I guess congregation and your style of worship. Let's say we have a little quiet time again. All I have to do, I'm not even releasing my patch, my chords. I'm taking those sounds out one by one. And building something else right now. I have 2 sounds working. And coming back to the reason why I ended up also putting my Focusrite into the equation is because I would like to add a percussive instrument, and Korg just happens to have a very good piano sound into the mix without adding any more contact or the samples. So here's how I do it. I go back to my patches, start with something simple, and once I feel that I have to lead the song into its beginning, I just have to crank up my main volume on the keyboard. It goes to the Focusrite right into the main out.